Hi. Okay, so today I want to give a health update and share the latest part of my story. And, you can go back and take a look at what happened to me. I have a section that says my story and it goes through all the different parts. So you can go back and look at that if you're curious. But anyways, I want to tell what's happened since, for the last 9 months. So since January. Sorry, my phone is not working properly here. It's not really set up. There. Okay, so since January, I got pneumonia. At first I got a cold that turns into bronchitis, then went to pneumonia, that went to bronchitis, then went to pneumonia, then went to pleurisy. So, and the doctors had said, you need this antibiotic. I took the antibiotic. I got really, really sick. All my symptoms, my neurological symptoms, came back in full force. Not that they were ever completely gone, but in full force. So I was really extremely symptomatic from, let's say, February, March, April, May, June. So that's 5 months of complete, every day, day in and day out, 24/7, not thinking this could ever change around. And then magically one day, well, not magically one day, but I did start to feel better. Those top numbers of levels of suffering started to come back down to where I could tolerate, and then they would fluctuate a little and come back down and stay, but I would have more like a few days at a time, and then a bad day, a couple good days, a bad day. And then I started to stabilize a little bit more, which has never happened to me before. Even prior to this really, really, really bad setback, where I'm starting to feel like, I have a lot of symptoms left, but that the bad, extremely terrible, terrible, terrible days where I cannot cope through life, have virtually been gone for about nearly 3 months. So I'm left with bad days, but the regular bad days, as opposed to non-human bad days. Anyone who's suffering knows what I mean by the difference of that. So I have symptoms that I struggle with, I suffer with, I feel like I can't cope with, but it's like having a serious migraine or a serious headache or, a serious something going on with you, or a flu. It's like having one thing, not a multitude of symptoms that are like attacking your body day in and day out. So what seems to be left with me are the eyes, the suffering in the sinus passages and the eyes, and the burning and the neurological symptoms going back into my brain from my eyes. Some toxicity, some feeling toxic and hungover upon waking, but nothing like before. But since this is a positive turnaround, and especially, the last 3 months have been a really positive turnaround, especially considering, the start to this year in January and just how far back I went from taking that antibiotic. And so I'm trying to make sense of it and say, what exactly did I do? What helped? What didn't help? What made the difference, to come out of this serious, serious setback and even make some progress? So what did I do? So I'm just going to tell you what I did, all the things, because all of the things truthfully could be the thing, or together could have been the things. But I do have a hunch it's a few of them. And that's just simply my intuition guiding me and saying, I think this and this made the biggest difference, but I'm going to tell you all of them. Because when you change many factors at once, often you're not sure exactly what made it worse or what made it better. So I'm going to give you the information, and then I'm going to tell you what my intuition is telling me. Okay, so one of the first major things I did was I went off all my supplements and all my protocols. If you've been following me, the extent of supplements that I would take on a daily basis, probably 30, averaging out to about 30. Sometimes I would be taking 20. Sometimes I'd be taking more like 60 or 70. So I would say it's averaging out to about 30-ish supplements a day. I stopped all of my supplements because I didn't know, because the setback was so bad, I didn't know what was happening. I wanted to get to a baseline. Now, I'm not sure that was the wisest thing because some of the supplements would be helpful, but because I didn't know at the time, I just stopped everything. So could that have been one of the things that actually helped me get better? Stopping the supplements, stopping the vitamins and minerals? I don't know. I don't think so, and I am going to start them back up soon. So I will be able to tell you, I'm going to start some back up slowly. I'm not going to take all that again, but I'm going to take some. Now, I'm not saying I didn't take any supplements, but I stopped like my whole huge protocol. So I'm going to tell you what supplements I did take every day. The only supplements that I kept in my regimen that I actually think were super beneficial were amino acids. So I took the essential amino acids, and I'll show you the brand at some point, but Dr. David Minkoff, you can look him up, has a brand that I love. I have used Ben Greenfield's amino acids, but I was taking 2 in the morning and 2 at night, sometimes 2 after exercise or walking, so in between 4 and 6 a day amino acids. I was taking colostrum powder. And this might be a weird one because normally I don't even take colostrum. But because my gut was so damaged, I couldn't handle the fermented foods. My body rejected the GAPS diet. Nothing was working. I couldn't take any probiotics. After the setback of the antibiotic, I had to do something. So colostrum being the first food for nature, I figured would be something that my immune system and gut needed to restore itself. So I started at about 1 teaspoon a day, but quickly, within 2 weeks, I ramped up to 2 tablespoons, 2 heaping tablespoons, like heaping, I'm talking, of tablespoons of colostrum in the morning, and 2 heaping tablespoons of colostrum right before bed. And I was using a Renegade Pharmacist brand, getting the great big bottles. At first I started with the little bottles, but now I have the great big bottles, and just like doing that. So that is one other thing that I took. And those are really the only supplements that I took. Vitamins, like nutrient supplements that I took. Now the other supplement that I did take was, what do I have here? Oh, betaine, HCl, and pepsin. So I took the Thorne brand, and I took that with my meat meals to help with my digestion. So just to make sure that I had enough stomach acid. So I would say I was probably taking one with each meal, unless I was just having like a fruit meal or something, like a plant meal. Anytime it included a protein, I would take one. So probably a couple of those a day I was taking. And then the last and biggest supplement or protocol that I was taking here was a supplement called TRS, and it's basically like a zeolite spray. Now I've done a lot of detoxing before, and I've never actually used zeolite, so I figured it was time that I needed to bind something. I was so toxic. I was such a mess. I really didn't want to do a detox protocol because I knew it would put me under the table. I didn't want to use any binders. I didn't want to use anything that would push detox. I just basically wanted to collect it and excrete it, right? Just kind of bind it up like that. I didn't want to, even some of the other products, binders and clays and charcoals, have made a mess of things in the past for me. I will go through a detox protocol at some point. But this TRS zeolite spray, I started very slowly, half spray in the morning, half a spray at night. I worked up to 1 spray in the morning, 1 spray at night. And now I'm doing 2 sprays in the morning and 3 sprays before bed, which is what's recommended on the bottle. And I've been doing that. I think between the amino acids and the zeolite, I think the zeolite has really helped to alleviate some of my toxic symptoms. that's just my intuition talking, but that is one of the things I did, and that's one of the things that I think actually made a huge difference. So in the beginning, I was carnivore, and I did go carnivore for an extended period of time. After about 3 months, I decided that I couldn't stay carnivore because I simply wasn't going to the bathroom. I wasn't going number 2. I was having to do enemas like 3 times a day, just to excrete and to make sure that I wasn't accumulating toxins. My bowels were moving. So I did enemas probably for 6 months straight. Probably anywhere from 2 to 5 times a day. So I finally stopped the enemas when I actually, after I went off carnivore and I added greens back into my diet, like lettuces, and I would eat my bed or my meat on a great big bed of romaine lettuce with just like olive oil and vinegar, and it was not helping my bowels. I was increasing vegetables, nothing was helping. I was trying to stay very low carb and keto. I finally said, forget it, I'm gonna start eating fruit. I ate a ton of watermelon because I was cutting it every day at the beginning of the summer for my kids, and so it just tasted so good. I was just going through it, and then I started noticing that my bowels were moving, so I just kept eating the watermelon in addition to all my meals. So this was in between my meals. Then I moved on to berries and peaches. I was eating peaches like they were going out of style, and I was eating them between my meals. So I was still having my carnivore, like I was still having, a heavily heavily meat-based, for lunch and dinner, but I was including plants again, particularly fruit, as my snacks throughout the day. And I do think that's one of the things that maybe didn't help my symptoms, but it certainly helped me able to go to the bathroom again. So once I was able to go regularly, I stopped all the enemas and just let my body do it, and I increased the fruit, and I have been eating tons of fruit all summer. But at this point I might try to back off on the fruit now that my bowels are strong, and see if I can get back into low carb and then go transition back into keto. We'll see. I mean, it's been working for me, so I don't want to change it. I don't want to, change that at all. I just want to be sure that I'm nourishing my body and my brain and my nervous system enough with enough healthy fats and meats to build it. But the addition of the plants and the fruit, I also added one juice daily. So that was a combination of lemon, green apple, beets, carrots, cucumbers, and ginger, and some herbs, whether it be parsley or whatever I had growing, So that's what I drank every day, and I would make them, a week or 2 weeks at a time. So juice a ton and then put them in the freezer, take a couple out every day, and then have them. So I would have like one a day, and that seemed to really, again, like help. I don't know, in the past before, I've done so much juicing, it's never done anything. So could have just been this, like, one of the other things, but I'm just giving you the information. I was drinking a juice a day, and I was eating snacks of fruit, peaches, watermelon, and all kinds of berries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries. Pretty much all I ate. Every once in a while I would have a banana. And I was eating, that's pretty much what I was having. And then I was having greens for my meals with my meat, and I was just putting an olive oil and balsamic vinaigrette on top. But my meats were pretty fatty cuts anyways, and I was having the drippings, and I was having liver, and a really good, a lot of animal proteins and fats to build my body. And I think that, along with the amino acids and the colostrum, was really, really helping. Okay, the next thing I just wanted to say that I did was every day, because I had the pressure and everything in my eyes, and I'm still doing this, I'm doing a neti rinse, almost like an enema for my orifices up here. So I'm not sure if that's helping or hurting, but I feel the need to do it, and sometimes it will just like take the pressure. I am going to be visiting an ENT just to see if they can find anything. I've already gone to some eye specialists, and there's nothing wrong in my eyes. There's no retinal damage. It seems to be nerve related, but I'm going to see an ENT and see if there's any kind of tumors or anything back there that could be causing some of this pain. But I do think it's nerve related, like everything else has been. And so I think this is just where there's a lot of mitochondria and nerves centered around that portion of your eyes. Anyways, where was I going with that? Yes, so I was doing a neti pot daily with saline solution that I made and baking soda. I was also adding 1 drop of hydrogen peroxide to that neti pot, and I was also putting 1 drop in this ear and 1 drop in this ear. It's a remedy that you can use when you have a cold or a flu to get rid of things very quickly. And so you probably shouldn't use it for more than a week or as you have the cold. But because I have all this pressure up here, I wanted to see if it would do something. And that could have been the thing, but definitely something was helping. So just wanted to let you know that I did that as well. I went for a walk every single day. So every day I went for a walk, come rain, shine, whatever was going on that day. And it was probably anywhere in between 45 minutes and an hour. So the walk was around a 50-minute walk at a set route that I did every single day. So I did that every day without fail. And I think that helped, just moving my lymph and moving my system. And I was looking forward to the future, meaning I was planning my future life, planning things to do in the future, planning vacations, planning building a house, planning for the future, trying to focus my mind on other things and trying to envision my healthy life and doing things for that future. And I think psychologically this also played a huge role in helping me turn things around. It's hard to say, but I did notice that was one of the things that I was very consistent and dedicated about doing. So I did that. I walked every day. I did the juice, the TRS zeolite spray, the colostrum, the amino acids, the neti pot, the hydrogen peroxide. I told you what I was eating. I was going to sleep every day at 9:30, which I think was helping. And I did my enemas in the beginning, and then finally when I was able to go, I did stop them. And I came off all the supplements except for the few that I told you about. And the one other thing that I did do, and I've done in the past too, I've done it twice, so I'm not sure if this had a huge hand in it, because one time I felt that it actually helped me, one time I felt that it hurt me, and this time this could have been the thing that really made the difference, or it could have just been one of those things that was in timing with that thing that helped me, if it was the TRS or if it was this or whatever, I don't know. But it was a fecal matter transplant, so I have done those. It's disgusting, so I haven't ever posted a video on how I've done that, but I can share your do-it-yourself fecal matter transplant, which I've done. So I did 8 of them daily in a row for 8 days. And this was after my antibiotic use, and I really needed to turn my gut flora around. And so I was quite desperate, so I did the fecal matter transplant from a trusted source. Anyways, I can go through that protocol at some point if anyone's interested in learning how to do that at home. And how I did that. But I did do 7 of those. I've done them twice in the past before. I've done a 10-day one and a 5-day one. And like I said, I didn't get the supersonic results that I was expecting from them. One round did help me. It did definitely improve some symptoms, and one actually set me back. So it was hard to say whether it was the sample, whether it was the donor, or what other things were going on. But I also did that, and I did that fairly. I started the FMT, the colostrum, the amino acids, and the TRS all at once, and that's really within about 2 weeks of doing that. That's when I noticed everything turn around. So I do believe it was one of those things that it was either the FMT, the colostrum, the amino acids, or the TRS spray. And if I had to, really look into my heart, I mean, it could have been anything that I just said to you, anything. So if you're wondering, if you want to try them all, because I don't know, I can't say which one helped, or was it the combination? But I can say that my gut instinct tells me that it was a combination of the amino acids and the TRS zeolite spray in the end. But of course, it could have been the FMTs, it could have been the colostrum. Both of those were quite new additions. And also, my daily walking and where my mind was going and thinking of the future certainly helped. Now, I'm not saying I'm symptom free. I still have a long way to go, but I've definitely made some progress. I've definitely made progress in the last 9 months, and so I just want to put it out there that my story is still moving forward. I'm hoping that I am turning the corner to rounding up to really coming into that healing phase where you feel just great all the time and you really feel like you are healing and healed. But like I said, I don't know, so I'm just continuing with what I'm doing, and I'm going to be adding in some other supplements to help, and I am going to investigate further to see what's going on in here that could be hurting me without it just being this long process of inflammation and nerve damage. So I wanted to say this is just me trying to sort out my feelings in this video. It's a long video, but it should give some hope that even when you're at your worst and you don't think there's any hope, things can turn around, and they often will and do with your persistence. Sometimes staying the course is more important than continuing to just try new things, right? I picked a few things that I felt were maybe my best bet, and I stuck with them, and I'm continuing to stick with them, and I just want to give anybody out there who's suffering hope to hold on, to keep trying, to never give up. And there's always an answer, there's always a solution, and you have to hold on and believe in yourself and keep going, and know that when the answers will come when you're open for them. So stay open to your answers and your possibilities, and keep working for your miracle, right? Put it into action every single day. Make goals, put them into action. Don't give up on yourself, and your miracle will come. It's coming for me, and it will be coming for you as well.